everybody. So this week we are making a dish called Tikka Masala. Tikka Masala in the Cultural Night Cookbook is going to be one of the more complex dishes to make, simply because of the amount of things that you have to do. There's a lot of spices, a lot of different things that you got to use, a lot of different techniques that are going to be in, but it is a really delicious dish and very much worth your time. The Tikka Masala actually is a British dish, not an Indian dish, but it was made in England by Indian immigrants. So it is a dish that uses Indian spices and styles, but it was not actually created in India. It was created in England. So kind of a lot of fun there. So let's get ready to make Tikka Masala on Cooking with Mr. Tolley. All right, so as I said, this dish requires a lot of things. There's a lot of steps that you need to take, a lot of ingredients that go into it. So the first thing we're actually gonna do is we're gonna marinate our chicken. The chicken gets marinated for up to an hour, even up to overnight, but you need at least 10 minutes. The longer you marinate, the better it's gonna taste though. So to make our chicken and our marinade, you're going to need chicken thighs. Now this is about 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Chicken thighs are preferable to chicken breast because chicken thighs have more flavor and they cook a lot nicer. But if you only have chicken breast, use chicken breast. You're also going to need 1 cup of yogurt. The yogurt I'm using here is a Greek style yogurt, which means it's very thick. Yogurt helps to tenderize the meat and get it ready. You're also going to need a bunch of spices. So I'm going to put those down and show you what that is. So you're going to need ginger, garam masala, turmeric, cumin, chili powder, and salt. Now that's a lot of things, and they're all going to be listed in the description. I'm going to list all these different spices. I will say one thing, garam masala is not a spice by itself, it is a spice blend. If you are able to make your own garam masala spice blend, it gives you a lot of control over the flavors. So I would recommend that, and I'll actually put a link to a recipe for garam masala in there. But if all you can get is a pre-made form, that's fine. You need, for the ginger in here, it did not specify whether this was fresh ginger or it was ground ginger. The same thing with the garlic. I'm guessing that the garlic would definitely be fresh garlic, and then probably the ginger would be fresh ginger in this case, but I'm going with the powdered ginger in this, and then I'll use fresh ginger later on. But there's one more ingredient you need for your marinade, which is garlic. Now, when you're mincing your garlic, make sure you get it nice and fine so that it mixes in nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump to the next step and kind of show you this whole process. All right, so what I did was I cut up my chicken into little bite-sized pieces, trying to keeping them about the same size. Mine are not even. I'm not gonna spend too much time doing that. The more even they are, the more evenly they cook. One thing about chicken thighs is they often have a lot of extra fat on them. So if you want to keep this dish a little healthier, you can trim off that fat. I like leaving it on because it adds a little bit of extra flavor. So I'm gonna take all of this chicken and I'm just gonna set it aside. And the next thing I'm gonna do is make my marinade. So my marinade consists of all those other things, those spices and the yogurt and the garlic, and all of that gets kind of mixed together into a existing marinade. So I'm gonna take first my 1 cup of yogurt, I'm gonna plop it into my bowl. And then I'm just gonna add everything else to it and mix it up until it looks ready and fully mixed. The more mixed it is, the better it will be. But at the end of the day, it honestly doesn't matter as long as you get it all in the same place. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix it up. All right, now that my marinade's mixed up, all I gotta do is add my chicken into there and get that all together. And you could leave it just as it is in the bowl. I'm gonna use an old trick that I like to do. I'm gonna actually end up putting it into a plastic bag. That helps keep the marinade in contact with the chicken. Also, it makes it easier to store because I'm gonna be putting this into the fridge. It's really important, especially if you're gonna marinate over a long period of time, that you don't leave your stuff out, because if you leave it out, it will go bad. It will start smelling really, really bad. All right, so before I get on to the next part, which is actually putting this whole meal together, I'm gonna do this one a little different. I'm not gonna show as much of my cutting. Everything I'm gonna be cutting here, you've seen me do, unless I specifically demonstrate it for you. So if you watch the other videos, you'll get to see some of those techniques. But I mostly want to just show you the process of putting this dish together because it's a lot and I don't want my video to be too super long. So I'm gonna let this marinate. I'm gonna go for half an hour. I'm gonna let it marinate for a half an hour and then I will get it cooking. All right, see you guys in half an hour. All right, so there's one technique I really want to show you guys before, in terms of like cutting, and that's how to use ginger. So this is ginger root. Ginger root is often in recipes measured by lengths. This one calls for a tablespoon of finely grated ginger. So I'm gonna call that about an inch. So I'm gonna take off the end of the ginger to right about there. Now, if you look at ginger, you can see it's yellow on most places, but then right there at the edge, it gets that papery kind of cover. Now, you need to get that papery cover off because the papery cover, you don't want it. So what we're gonna do is we're going to use a spoon to get it off. I could use a knife, but I'm gonna waste a whole lot of ginger that way. So I'm just gonna take a spoon and I'm just going to scrape it off, just like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. There we go. That is my peeled ginger. You can see how thin this papery kind of like covering is. It's just literally like paper. So the next thing I'm gonna do is clean off my cutting board and then I'm going to grate my ginger. Ginger is difficult to cut. It's very fibrous, which means it's very stringy. And so one really good way to get your ginger is to grate it using a box grater. Because you want it very fine, you're gonna wanna go to the smallest of your holes. And you're just gonna take your ginger and literally just grate it like you grate cheese. There we go. You probably saw the ginger jumped out of my hand a bunch of times. One thing you should see, ginger, as I said, it's very fibrous. See all those little strings in there, which means it's very difficult to grate. So you gotta be careful. But that should give me about a tablespoon of ginger, which is what I'm looking for. All right, so my chicken's almost done marinating, so I'm gonna start making the sauce. At least getting things together for it. So to make the sauce, I'm going to need 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm using a sunflower oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, not olive oil. In this particular case, olives would not make sense in this dish. I also need butter. Make sure that you are using unsalted butter. Salted butter has salt in it, which means that it alters the flavor. You're also gonna need either 2 small onions or 1 large onion that has been diced. Your garlic and your ginger. Garlic has been diced or minced and ginger has been grated like I showed you earlier. Spices, just like last time. Now, I made one big mistake here. I did not read through my directions too well, so I have 2 spices together that I don't want together in this particular case, so I'm gonna have to be a little careful when I do it. But you're gonna need garam masala, turmeric, cumin, coriander, salt, and chili powder. Now, you may have noticed that that's a lot like the stuff that's in your sauce. It's because Indian food has a lot of depth of flavor. So that means a lot of the different same flavors go throughout the whole dish. Now, I did mention this earlier, and I should have. The chili powder I'm using is not the Kashmiri chili. I don't have that, so I'm using what I have, which happens to be ancho chili powder. Any of those will work. Kashmiri would just be more authentic. You're also going to need a 1.25 cups of heavy or thickened cream, 14 ounces of tomato paste. I have a little rubber spatula in mind to help get it out later, and a teaspoon of brown sugar. The recipe also calls for a 1/4 cup of water if it's needed. I don't think I need it right now, so I'm just going to go with what I got, and I can always add that later. All right, so we're gonna start cooking our food together. Now, I'm gonna be using a cast iron Dutch oven. Notice that it is ceramic lined. That is very important. Since I'm using tomatoes, I don't want to use a full cast iron because tomatoes will damage cast iron. Turn it brown and kind of mess with your food. So we're going to be using my ceramic lined one. It's one of my favorite things to cook a dish like this in since it's such a deep dish. And we're going to start by heating up some oil. So we're going to take those 2 tablespoons of oil that we had at the beginning, put it into our pan, and kind of let it start warming up. You want it to be warm before we put the food in because that helps stop as much sticking. Okay, as that's warming up, let's talk chicken. At this point, my chicken has been marinating for half an hour. I could, some people will recommend that you wash off the marinade. The recipe doesn't say to wash off the marinade, so I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cook it with it on. We're not going to cook it all the way through because we want it to cook a little bit in the sauce later. And if we cook it all the way through and then cook it in the sauce later, it's not going to taste really good. It's going to get really dry. So my oil should be hot by now, so I'm going to add my chicken. Oh, it could have been a little hotter. I was listening for that sound of sizzling oil. So I'm gonna spread it out. And one mistake a lot of people make when they're cooking is they mess with things. They mess with the meat, they mess with stuff. I'm just gonna let it sit for a little bit because it'll help it brown. I put my chicken in and I've been letting it cook for about 3 minutes. I'm gonna kind of turn it over. My goal at this point is not to have my chicken all the way cooked through. What I wanna have is I wanna have my chicken mostly cooked through so that when I can finish it in the sauce. I'm using a deep Dutch oven. My Dutch oven happens to be lined with a ceramic base. That helps me to use it. If I'm using a full cast iron Dutch oven, I won't be able to do this because it'll turn my tomato sauce brown because of a connection between the cast iron and that. But right now, all I'm doing is just simply getting my chicken cooked and developing a depth of flavor. Indian food is very well known for depth of flavor, which means it's very, very flavorful food. And the only way to appropriately get that is to cook it correctly and for the right amount of time. So I'm going to cook things a little bit slower. I'm going to make sure that they cook all the way down before I move on to the next step, because if I skip any steps, my food won't taste as good. Right now, if you're looking, you can see some of that color is starting to come out. Most of that yellow you're seeing there is from the turmeric. So I'm gonna let this cook a little bit longer and then I will go to the next step. All right, so my chicken's been cooking for about 6 minutes total and I'm going to pull it. I wanna get all of this chickeny deliciousness. At this point, it is not likely that my chicken is entirely cooked. So I am not going to try my food at this point. I know I said it's very important to try your food, and it is. But you don't want to try your food when it's unsafe. Make sure that if you try your food, it is cooked as much as it needs to be. I'm actually going to get a oven mitt, and I'm going to dump this out. I want to save all of that goodness for the sauce that I'm going to cook later. So I'm going to take this over here and clean it out. One thing about Indian food, if you've never been in an Indian restaurant or made Indian food, you are in for a treat because Indian food always smells absolutely delicious. Indian dishes are great for slow cooker meals in the winter time. You can get them going and then really have just your house when you come home smells amazing. So you'll notice that it's not a perfectly clean bowl. There's still a lot of stuff in there. And there's a reason for that. I want to keep most of those flavors going. So next I gotta cook my onions. Onions cook well at lower temperatures. So I'm gonna actually get this kind of a little bit about medium temperature, but I'm going to put in my butter and just let that melt. Butter is used a lot in Indian food. The butter that is most commonly used is called ghee. We talked about this when I made my naan bread, my very first episode, but ghee is a clarified butter. Clarified butter means that you've cooked it down cooked it down at a lower temperature and let it kind of come out, and you'll see you can do it yourself, but as you cook out butter, brown bits start to form. That's where you get brown butter. If you cook it too hot, you get brown butter. If you cook it slow and low and you pull off all the foam that comes up, you can get clarified butter. And clarified butter is useful in a lot of places. So that's all melted out. I'm going to add my onions. Now I'm going to be cooking these onions for a long time. This recipe calls for me to cook them about 3 minutes to get it to about where we want it to go. I'm just going to let it start browning in here. I want to get them nicely cooked out. Some Indian recipes will call for you to cook your onions for 10 to 15 minutes at times. So let's go ahead and let those cook. All right, so that's been cooking for about 3 minutes. It should be ready to go. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my ginger and my garlic. These things will cook really fast and burn really fast, so this next couple of steps are pretty quick things to do. And we're going to cook our ginger and our garlic together to let them start to break down and to get fragrant. You should start to smell all of that. You'll notice that I'm getting some brown bits on the bottom here. That's fine. I will get those up in a little bit when we add our tomato puree. While that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my spices, and I'm going to talk about my mistake. So I don't need these two yet. I need these later. So I'm going to have to separate these out because I made the mistake of putting them all together. I'm going to have my tomato sauce ready to go. because as soon as I start cooking these spices, it's going to be a moment before they burn. Spices burn very fastly, and you don't want to burn your spices. So I'm going to go ahead and start separating out my spices here, away from the things that I want to leave for later. I mean, I'll get a little bit of the salt and a little bit of the chili powder, and it's all going to be fine. It's all going to go together anyways. But I want to get this flavor in here. So I'm going to go ahead and dump these in. I'm going to be extremely fast about this next step, because what I have to do now is I have to spread this out and stop it from burning the spices. Burned spices are not delicious. So, about 20 seconds, going to get these spread out, get them moving around in the pan. They should just start to be fragrant, and I'm going to add my tomato sauce. Now, tomato sauce is a liquid. The nice thing about a liquid is it breaks up and start slowing down some of the cooking process so you can get rid of some of that burn. And pull in some of the brown bits from the edges, kind of get it going. Look at that deep red color we're getting from this tomato sauce. I did not find a plain tomato sauce when I was at the store, so I've got 2 small things of tomato paste and added in some water to thin it out to get to where I want it to be. So I have the same amount. It comes out to basically the same thing, but is a more of a concentrated tomato flavor. So mine might taste a little bit different than Miss Shaw's does when she makes it. So this needs to cook, and I don't want it to burn. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this down just a little bit to help. And I can already see I did not go in fast enough for some of that, and I got a little bit of burn on the bottom of my bowl, which isn't ideal, but it won't be a big deal because the flavors will sit on top of that and should not affect the flavors too much. So I'm going to let this cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. One more thing I have to do is I have to add in my salt and chili powders. So you can see it's not a huge difference in time. In one case, I was just cooking off those flavors a little bit. This will concentrate the salt and the chili powder flavors a lot because they will be there. I'm going to keep a good eye on this because I don't want it to burn, as I said. So I'm going to turn down my heat. I'm just going to let it simmer in there. Simmer is not a boil, it's a very light kind of movement, but you can see how thick this is. I might end up adding that water pretty soon to keep it from burning too much. All right, I'm going to admit I cheated a little bit. I got a little bit more burn in there than I wanted to because I got distracted trying to film at the same time. So I took my sauce out and I added some water just to clean it out a little bit, and then I put it back in. Unfortunately, that's going to kill a little bit of the depth of flavor I wanted, but I'd rather have that than to have a burn flavor in my food. So next up, I have to add the next set of ingredients, which in this case happens to be the brown sugar and the cream. This will take out, for those of you who are worried a little bit about the spice level of food, which I know some of us do, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of cream will kind of help tamper that down. This is not an extremely spicy dish to begin with because we're not using a lot of chili in it. And you can also use less chili at the forefront to get it a little softer. So you can see as I'm mixing it together, it's developing this kind of pinkish orangish color. That is the cream settling in with all those reds and yellows from the turmeric. It's a very pretty dish. Now I'm going to add back in all of my chicken and all of those juices. This is why it was so important to save those juices, because they are food gold. Adds this deep extra flavor, all those spices that I already had, all that chicken fat. So I'm going to kind of mix this all together and let it cook for about 8 minutes. I'm going to cover it because I don't want it splattering all over the place as it thickens. But you can see how deep and beautiful this color actually is. So we'll let this cook itself down, and then I will show you the final result when it's done. All right, and it's done. So let's take a look at it. There it is, cooking away a little bit. Now we're serving ours with rice, so I'm going to turn down my temperature and I'm going to cover it up. Once again, if you decide to make this, please show me pictures. I would love to see what you've come up with. So this has been Tikka Masala and Cooking with Mr. Tolley. Bye guys.